Hello, everyone. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is your Weekly Dose of Wicked. What up, party people?
Hello, hello, hello.
Today is January 25th, which means tomorrow we are going to be on a plane to Orlando, Florida for PodFest. What is up with that? I am scared.
Oh, we're excited.
No, I mean, I'm really excited, but I'm so freaking apprehensive about this plane ride.
It'll be fine.
Guys, all message me and tell me I'm going to be okay. Tell me that I'm not going to. Only good things happen to me. Good things always happen to me. So it's going to be the best plane ride ever. I'm going to get a great seat. No one's going to sit next to me unless it's Ashley. It's going to be great because we also didn't pick our seats because that was expensive. So it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. If you haven't yet and you want to help us with our dream to go to PodFest and you want to, give us a donation, you could do that. Maybe you got $1 floating around in your Venmo. Maybe you got, I don't know, $5 in your Cash App, and you're like, hey, let me give it to those crazy girls on the Weekly Dose of Wicked so they can, pay for their hotel in Orlando. You can do that.
Maybe you got a penny. That's cool too.
Yeah, I don't think it'll let you send a penny.
Okay, well, never mind. Don't send a penny.
There's a limit, but maybe like 35 cents. It doesn't matter. Anything helps. If all of our listeners send us a penny, we'd have like $1.
There we go. Maybe $1.
But anyway, whatever. If you guys want to help us, we'd appreciate it. You can send us a direct donation on Venmo at Weekly Dose of Wicked, on Cash App, $ Weekly Dose of Wicked. You can also support us by going to
patreon.com/Weekly Dose of Wicked.
Yeah. You can support us there. You can become a Patreon member, one of our pepperoni patronis, where you can get bonus content. Starts at $3 a month. It's literally 10 cents a day. So if that's something you want to do, head on over there, check it out. You can also go to buymeacoffee.com/WDOW, and you can donate for us there. We have those all the time. The Venmo and Cash App is just kind of an Orlando thing, but we can always use your support because we need to buy things to keep our podcast going. How else can you support us? You can give us ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. I know that our ratings and reviews do not fully demonstrate our worth, but I need words of affirmation. I need you guys to tell me that you like me. So please just tell me you like me. Tell me you love me.
She's a needy bitch.
It's true. I am. So head on over to Apple Podcasts, give us a rating and review. And I'd be forever grateful. What else can you do? Head on over to Facebook, head on over to Instagram, give us likes and follows, and we will enjoy that a lot as well. Oh, we have a TikTok too. You can head over to TikTok, Weekly Dose of Wicked on TikTok. I'm the only one that posts on it, so if you don't like me, then it's not for you.
You're the only one that posts on it. We have like one post.
I have 3 posts on TikTok.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know.
Yeah, so
I thought I was the social media manager.
You were the social media manager, but TikTok, you didn't do that, so I took over.
Okay, that's fine.
But I would like it if you'd post on TikTok, but I know that you won't because you're shy.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But anyway, if you don't like me, then you don't want to get on TikTok. But also, if you don't like me, why are you here?
Because they like me, duh.
Yeah, but I'm 50% of the show. Sometimes 75%, depending on your mood of the day. So,
I'm not in a good mood today, but I feel like I still have been participating.
Hey, you've been good today. You're not in a great mood, but you have been good. But sometimes you're not very chatty at all.
That's because you make me record so late at night and I'm tired.
It's not my fault. You went out and partied and got drinks instead of being home to record.
I'm not talking about tonight. I'm talking about, on Tuesday nights when I have to work the next morning and you make me stay up till midnight.
It's not my fault that it takes a long time to record. Anyway, they don't want to listen to us bickering, Ashley. They don't care about our sibling banter. So let's just get into our case.
Sounds good to me.
I'm excited for this one. So not excited because someone died, but it's just like a good case. It's interesting.
Also, I did not go out and have drinks.
Yes, you did.
I mean, you act like I got sloshed. I did not. I had a burger and had some Angry Orchard.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
I had a little juice with my burger.
You knew we had to record, and you chose to go out on a Friday night instead of being readily available to record. Little irresponsible.
I had to eat.
I had to eat too, but I didn't go out. I just made myself a sandwich.
I didn't have any bread.
I'm just kidding. I didn't make a sandwich. I got some Chinese food. But either way, I was home to record. Doesn't matter. We're not going to fight anymore. We're just on. All right.
Okay.
So I want to talk to you today about the disappearance of Robert Hoagy Hoagland. Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. All right. Ready?
I was threatening you with a lighter and you didn't even
care. Don't care about your lighter.
Okay.
All right. Born in 1963, Robert Hoagland was a 50-year-old devoted husband and father of 3. Unfortunately, on July 28, 2013, Robert disappeared without a trace from Sandy Hook, Connecticut. The day started like any other Sunday morning. Robert went and got a dozen bagels to bring home and share with his 3 adult sons. Video surveillance then saw the family man buying a map and getting gas in his wife's car. According to his friends, buying a map was totally normal for Robert. He was a maps guy. He didn't like GPS. Apparently he collected maps. They said there was tons and tons of them in his car.
What year was this? 19 what?
It was 19 nothing. It was 2013. I don't know why he was using maps.
I don't know.
He just liked maps. I don't know. And GPSs were definitely a thing.
Okay.
He just liked maps, apparently. That's what his friends said. They said, like, he had tons of maps in his car. He just liked maps. He preferred to do it that way.
Okay, well, good for him.
So Robert would then go home, share some bagels with his son, and then
What a good dad. I freaking love bagels.
I know, me too. I was like, man, Dad, where's my bagels?
You remember when Dad used to do that?
He did. Dad's a good dad, too. He used to bring us bagels. He'd go get some donuts.
No, he used to get bagels from New York Bagel Shop. He used to get like 10 bagels and like a thing of cream cheese.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, he would get something, like donuts or bagels or something, yes. On like Saturday mornings, we'd wake up and he'd be like, oh, I went and got you some donuts, or I went and got you some bagels.
There's some coffee in the fridge.
Some coffee in the fridge for you. Yeah, super sweet. He still tries to do that too, because on New Year's, when they were sick and they didn't come, he was like, oh, you want to get up and take the grand some donuts? And Mom was like, no, not even a little bit. So
right, I'm not driving 45 minutes to bring them donuts.
But they would have loved that. He actually regularly is like, I was going to bring a donut.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, he went home, shared his bagels with the son, and then he mowed the lawn. And that would be the last time that anyone would see Robert in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. The next morning, he failed to show up for work as a property appraiser. And even more alarming, his wife, Lori, was flying home from a girls' trip in Turkey. So she's super lucky.
Just casually going on a girls' trip to Turkey.
She casually went on a girls' trip to Turkey and she was flying home. Robert was supposed to pick her up, but after waiting for 2 hours at the airport and no word from Robert, Lori knew something was wrong. First of all, I would not have waited 2 hours for my husband.
No, maybe 10 minutes.
If he was supposed to pick me up, there's no way I would have waited 2 hours. So she's a better woman than me. She knew something was wrong. Lori knew Robert. They had met in their early 20s while attending the Culinary Institute of America. Lori said she saw him walking across the softball field and she was like sitting there with one of her friends. And she told her friend, do you see that one over there? I'm going to marry him.
Oh, that's super cute.
I said, my heart was just gushing. Like, I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I like that.
Not long after graduation, Lori and Robert were child together. And shortly after that, they got married. The two would welcome 2 more sons and essentially live a happy life together. Robert's children remember how like hands-on he was with them. He loved spending time with them. He was a great dad. They said like he never missed a game. They all played soccer, I think it was. They said he never missed a soccer game. Like he was just very, very much a dedicated father. Lori gushed over how caring he was, boasting about what a great husband and father he was. Over the years, Lori continued to work in the culinary field, teaching classes at the local high school. In 2001, however, Robert took classes to receive his real estate property appraiser license, as he realized that being a chef in a restaurant just didn't align with his job as being a present father. And I think you and I can both relate to that. Restaurant work's hard, and the hours are not ideal for a family.
Crap.
I mean, they're great when you're young and when you need those weird hours, they're great. Like I worked as a server for a long time as a mother, because the schedule was completely opposite of my husband's. But like when you're trying to be there and be present for your kids, I mean, it's not a great job. The hours are not great, especially depending on how high up in the restaurant you are. Like if he's a chef, you know, you got to think like restaurant managers. A lot of times when I managed restaurant, I would go to work with the sun just coming up and I'd go home with the sun going down. So, I mean, my entire day was spent inside of 4 walls.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. I mean, I worked a lot of times 14-hour days my child would be asleep when I left and asleep when I got home. So I feel him on that.
Right, not just sun up to sundown. Like, sun up to sundown is like a 9 to 5 in the winter.
Okay, but I'm talking like summer sun up to sundown, I guess I
Right.
should say. Like, I'm saying, like, I would leave for work at like 7 a.m. and I want to get home from work until like 8 p.m.
Right. Or later.
I mean, or later. And there's sometimes when I'd go to work at 10 a.m. and I want to the next day. So yeah, I mean, it's long hours. So yeah.
Right, like, I work sun up to sundown.
In the winter.
But different.
Yes, in the winter. I should word that differently. I'm not talking like an 8-hour day. I'm talking my child would be asleep when I left and she'd be asleep when I got home. And it was really hard sometimes because I would go literally days without seeing her.
Right.
Because, I mean, I would see her, but like she was asleep. She didn't know I was there.
Right. She didn't see you.
No, she didn't see me. So it was hard. So I personally think that he's a phenomenal father, just for that alone.
Right.
He didn't even hesitate. Like, he completely changed his career in order to be there for his kids' lives, which obviously is something he was passionate about. He went to culinary school, but it didn't matter. He was more passionate about being a father. So to me, it just seems like he was really a phenomenal man. So back to Monday, July 29th, 2013. Lori, like I said, she flies home. Robert's to pick her up. He had vocalized to friends that she was coming home and that he was excited to see her. And he told everyone he was going to be picking her up. So it's not likely that he just forgot about her. So when she lands and he's not at the airport, she tries to call. She doesn't get any answer. After waiting for 2 hours, which again is crazy, she gets a taxi to take her to her stepsister's house where she tries to track Robert down. Initially, she thinks maybe he did get confused on the date. But when she calls his boss and finds out that he never showed up for work, she knows that something's definitely wrong. It's just not like him. She continues to call everyone she can think of who may know where Robert is, but after having no luck, she does end up reporting Robert missing at around 7:30 that night. She contacts the Newtown police and they put out an alert for Robert's car, and they get a hit on the license plate very quickly. At around 9 p.m. in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Robert and Lori's middle son, Max, who's 23, is pulled over driving his dad's car. Lori's not happy to find out that Max is in this part of town. Apparently, it's a really heavy drug area, and Max has a history of drug use.
Okay.
So, as upset as Lori is with Max right now, though, she needs to figure out if he knows where Robert is.
Right.
After talking to Max, Lori realizes that he was the last person to see Robert on Sunday when he was mowing the lawn. So he hasn't been, at this point, it's 9 p.m. on Monday. He hasn't been seen since Sunday, late morning, essentially, when he's mowing the lawn. He said that when he had gotten home on Sunday night, Robert was not there. And that when he woke up on Monday morning, he still wasn't home. And that he tried to call him, but he couldn't get a hold of him.
Okay.
Yeah. At this point, Max is brought in for drug charges. And while they don't charge him with anything to do with Robert, he was the last person to see him alive. So they do want to question him.
Okay.
Lori, afraid to go home alone, has her stepsister drive her to a friend's house for the night, which to me was also crazy. If my husband's missing, I'm going to go home. Like, what if he's injured there at the house? I don't understand why nobody went and checked the house.
So the cops haven't been to the house yet either?
No. Nobody's been to the house.
Interesting.
But like,
okay.
what if he's passed out on the bathroom floor? Like, he's 50 years old. What if he had a heart attack and he's home alone?
Right. Yeah, you would think the cops would go there first. Like, that's immediately what they would do.
Right, but no, they didn't.
Or like, I could see her being like, I don't want to go to the hospital myself. What if he was killed and the murderer is there? But like, have the cops go with you.
Yeah, I just thought it was crazy that nobody went to the house. So nobody ends up going to the house until Tuesday morning. Lori ends up returning home, and what she finds has her even more concerned for Robert's safety. His favorite loafers were where he always left them, so he didn't have his loafers with him wherever he was. His phone was in the bedroom. The medication that he took every day was at the house. His passport was at the house. And in the garage next to the lawnmower were his sneakers. So to her, she's like, I don't see how he could have left.
Right. All of his stuff's there.
Yeah. It doesn't appear that he took any clothes with him. Max has his car, so he didn't take that. Essentially, all that's missing from the home is Robert, wallet, and like a spare car key. But none of the cars are missing. So the car, I don't know what the car key has to do with anything, but the cars are there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Lieutenant Richard Robinson is assigned to Robert's defense. But he isn't concerned about foul play. He thinks that Robert just walked away from his life to start a new one.
Oh, okay.
I know how much you love those.
You can't see me, but I'm rolling my eyes very hard.
Yes. It's not... Okay, so the thing is, though, is it's not a huge stretch for him to think that.
Okay, why?
In 1994, Lori and Robert made a rash move to California.
Okay.
They essentially just completely started over. They had no jobs, nowhere to live. Robert did end up finding a job as a chef, and things were starting to look good for the family. It's funny because in like the interview with Lori, she was like, I mean, it might not have been the best idea. Like she just like it probably wasn't the best idea. Picked up our kids and moved across the country with nothing, but we did it. But I mean, he did end up finding the job. Things were looking good. That is until one morning, Robert kissed Lori goodbye, headed off to work, and then he didn't return home for 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Lori found out he had actually been fired from his job. But the difference is that in 1994, Robert did disappear. He was very easily trackable. He left a paper trail. So not only did he take their only car, but he was also using credit cards. So like they very easily figured out where he was.
Right.
He ended up coming back. He apologized to Lori. He told her he was ashamed. He couldn't provide for his family. So he had just up and left. Obviously not a great choice, but I mean, it seems like he spent the rest of his life making up for it.
Right.
So, and this time was different. Like his wallet was gone, but there are not any hits on any of his credit cards.
Or he's smarter this time.
Maybe. But I mean, even the first time though, it's not like she found him and forced him back. He came back on his own.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's what happened, but I'm just saying.
I mean, but that's what the detective's like. You know what? He did it before. Maybe he did it again. So there's no hits on his credit card. The last time any of his cards were used was on that Sunday at the bagel shop and at the gas station when he bought gas and a map.
Okay.
And then again, he disappeared with no vehicle. So like how far could he have really gotten? They also find out that on the Thursday prior to his disappearance, he did withdraw $600 cash. So they're like, yeah, he ran away. Like he took out $600, he ran away. To me, $600 isn't going to get you very far, but okay.
Well, probably not, but.
So this also obviously solidifies their theory that he left to start a new life. The thing is, though, he mowed the lawn. And everyone's like, why would he mow the lawn? Why would he do that? If he took money out on Thursday and with the intention of leaving, why would he mow the lawn?
I got nothing.
It doesn't make sense. And a neighbor said the same thing. Like a neighbor was like, I don't think he left. He mowed the lawn. And I'm like, no, I mean, right. Why would he mow the lawn why would he care if his grass was overgrown? He wouldn't.
Maybe he was trying to be nice to his wife.
Before he left her to start a new life without her? I mean,
maybe.
That's weird. That's a weird thought process, but okay, I'll give you that, whatever.
I mean, I agree it is weird, but people are weird.
Whatever. Lori's not believing it. She doesn't think that he... So Lori, she's searching the house for clues, trying to figure out what the heck happened, where Robert is. She discovers that Robert left behind all of the cash in his safe. So he apparently had a cash fund that he kept in his safe at all times, and he left that. Why would he go and withdraw $600? That doesn't make sense either.
No, that doesn't.
So Lori's certain that while he did leave that one time in the past, I mean, it was almost 20 years ago, this time it's foul play. Like there's no way that he left her.
Right, it's different this time.
Yeah. She also discovers something shocking. So almost 2 weeks after Robert's disappearance, she finds his wallet and that missing.
She found his wallet where?
She found his wallet and that missing car key.
Okay. Where at?
They're in their bedroom. So they have like a chair in their bedroom, and Lori has a doll for childhood, and the doll is sitting in the chair, and she picks the doll up and his wallet the doll. So her theory is he was hiding his wallet from their son Max because he had a drug problem and he would take money from it. So he had hidden the car keys and the wallet so Max couldn't take the car in his wallet, essentially, which makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I get that.
So now we're saying he left with nothing.
Right. Was the $600 in his wallet?
Did not say that.
Okay.
Did not say where the $600 was. But even at that point, we're saying, okay, he left with possible, I guess. But he doesn't have his wallet or a car key. And also the car key didn't do any good for him.
Maybe Max has the $600.
Maybe. So with this evidence, now realize that Rob probably didn't leave. They start focusing on Max's drug use. Max claims not to have any information on Robert. He also denies any involvement, but he does tell police that Robert had an altercation with a few of his acquaintances in an abandoned warehouse in Bridgeport.
Interesting.
That's the heavily drug area that
Right.
you're just not supposed to be in.
Right.
So Max had stolen 2 laptops accidentally.
Okay. Accidentally. Got it.
Yeah. So Max would go to Bridgeport because it was essentially like an abandoned part of town. And he would like steal metal like off buildings and things.
Like to scrap it?
Yeah, to scrap for drug money. So he took, Robert had hidden these laptops in Lori's car because remember, she's in Turkey. So
Right.
he had taken their laptops, he'd hidden them in Lori's car from Max because he was worried Max would steal them. Max, not knowing that the laptops were in the car, stole the car, essentially. He took the car without permission.
Okay.
And when he realized that the computers were in the car, he took them out of the car and hid them in this abandoned warehouse where his friends hung out.
Okay.
He was worried someone was going to steal them out because he was in a seedy part of town.
So hide them in a warehouse. That's safer?
He hid them. Yeah, he thought it was. But when he went to go leave after, stealing scrap metal of buildings, the computers were missing.
Oh, surprise. Shocker.
Yeah, so Robert attempted to get them back by threatening these acquaintances. And this was a solid lead. This was the only solid lead they had. So police are able to track down these men, but they deny any involvement with either the computers or disappearance. They use cadaver dogs to search the building, and they don't get any hits. They have no evidence linking these guys to Robert's disappearance, so they go back to Max. And Max agrees to take a polygraph, which we know you should never do, not admissible in court. But this polygraph actually clears Max. When it comes back, he's not lying.
Okay.
But they still don't have any leads. They've hit a dead end. They search local woods and a local lake, but they still don't get anything. Seeing maybe he went for a hike and got injured and whatever, but nope, he's not in the woods, not in the lake. Then in September of 2013, someone reports seeing Robert in Rhode Island. So at this point, we're looking at, July to September, a couple months. They're like, oh yeah, he's in Rhode Island. So they claim that they saw him walking down the road, but they said he's alive. This doesn't make sense because no one in his life thinks that he would just up and leave. It's just not who he is. The thing is, though, they did find evidence that Robert had searched an address in Rhode Island multiple times.
Okay.
So they look into this address, but it's a dead end. Like, he's not there. All they have is that one eyewitness. I mean, you can't take that for, fact.
Right.
However, over the coming weeks, more people would start coming forward saying they saw Robert in Rhode Island.
Interesting.
Yeah. So a few of these sightings are discredited. And then none of the others can be confirmed because, again, this is really just like, oh, yeah, I saw him. Then sightings start coming in closer to home. But again, these are false leads. They check surveillance. And while the sightings, I mean, they do resemble it, but they're not Robert. Like, you can tell it's just another man similar in age. A bit of, they look similar, but it's not Robert. So they continue the search for Robert. In the winter, they do flyovers. All of the trees are bare. So they're hoping that maybe they can see if his remains are in the woods. Like, missed him and maybe he is in the woods somewhere and now all the leaves are gone. They can see more clearly. So they fly over with helicopters. They don't find anything still. A friend of the family goes through the family's financials to maybe Robert's putting money away. He doesn't find any evidence of that, though. Almost a year later, Lori finds a news article claiming Robert is working in a restaurant in Myrtle Beach. And she actually gets hopeful. She says, this is the first time that she thinks it could be an accurate lead. They used to vacation in Myrtle Beach. He loved Myrtle Beach, and he loved being a chef. So she's like, this could be real. He might still be alive. He might be in Myrtle Beach. The Newport police contact the Myrtle Beach police. But it turns out that the info in the article was based off of a vision from a psychic.
Interesting that they would publish that.
I agree. So yet again, the fans let down. This wasn't even a real sighting. There's no actual physical sighting. She just saw a vision of
That's insane.
And they posted that as news. I agree.
That's not news.
I agree, but
okay.
So at this point, the investigation doesn't have anywhere else to go. I mean, it goes cold. That is until December 5th of 2022.
Oh, pretty recent.
Yeah, nearly 9 years after Robert's disappearance, a man named Richard King in Rockhill, New York, would finally close this. So Richard lived in Rockhill with his best friend and roommate, David. Richard had a job as a real estate appraiser, and David was a high school teacher. On the morning of December 5th, which was a Monday, David realized that he hadn't seen Richard Friday. Not too big of a deal. They were both middle-aged bachelors. They essentially had met. They were both going through nasty divorces. And so they kind of leaned on each other because they needed somewhere to live. So they became roommates, and they'd been roommates for 9 years. Anyway, middle-aged bachelors. He just assumes maybe they through the weekend. But when David went to leave for work, he saw that Richard's car was still in the garage, and he should have left for work already. But then he's like, maybe he's just playing hooky. Maybe he's just going to take the day off. So David went ahead and left for work. But once he got to work, he just couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. So he starts to recall the events of the weekend. On Friday, he had went to bed early. But then Saturday morning, he'd noticed that Richard's car was there when he left, which was weird because Richard normally worked on Saturdays. And he normally would have left already. So at home or at work, David checks their security cameras. And he sees Richard coming home Friday night. But Richard's holding his back, like maybe he's in pain. And then there's no other footage of him leaving for the weekend. So he's like, maybe he's sick. Like, maybe I'm wrong and I missed it. Jerk, and I'm busy all weekend. So he shoots Richard a text, but it goes unanswered. So he texts him again. Still nothing. He calls him. No answer. At this point, he asks a friend, hey, do you mind just like swinging by? And his friend's like, yeah, no problem. So he swings by, but nobody answers the door. So now David's panicking. And he rushes home. He enters Richard's bedroom to find him lying on the bed, not breathing. David calls 911 and begins CPR, but Richard's gone. Well, there's no signs of foul play. It was procedure for the police to do a sweep of the room as this was like an unattended death. He died alone with no one present. So while they're searching the room, they couldn't find anything to identify Richard King. They did, however, find mail for one Robert Hoagland. Robert Hoagland disappeared without a trace to start a new life in Rockhill, New York, just 100 miles away from Newtown.
I'm impressed.
What the fuck? I found a golden Easter of a case that is somebody that disappeared to start a new life. I was so proud of myself.
I'm pretty proud of you. Good job.
I was so proud of myself. I was like, what am I going to do for this week's episode? And I was like, I really don't know. And then I started looking at it and I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can find like the epitome of a case that like we have been, you know, we say every time, like, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It's never happened. It freaking happened.
I mean, I'm sure it happened that one time, but that was all.
Okay, but I'm just saying. I was like, cheesing.
I'm proud of you.
Like, oh my God. And I really wanted to tell you about it like immediately. I was like, I gotta freaking call Ashley.
So what did he die of?
Natural causes. They said they won't be releasing any more as far as cause of death or anything because there was no foul play. So essentially they said it's none of your business.
Oh, yeah, but we're nosy.
I know. I really want to know. But I mean, I think it was just natural causes. I don't know. He was holding his back and he was laying in bed. He was sleeping. David said that when he found him, like when he came in, he had like a sleep mask on and his hands were like over his chest. So, like he died in his sleep, I would say.
Yeah, maybe he had like a heart attack. Because like back pain can sometimes be.
I feel really bad though to be so excited about it because how freaking much does that suck for and their sons?
Oh,
like,
that really
sucked.
that is horrible.
That sucks. Like, oh my God, like Robert, dude.
Right, and she was so sure, like he wouldn't do that again.
He was so sure. She was like, he would not leave. And one of his friends from like his previous life had said, you know, it was really hard to comfort her because there were only two options. Like either he was dead, either her husband was dead or her husband had left her.
Right.
He was like, so either way, it was a losing situation.
Right. Either way,
there was no winning.
Sucks.
Right. He was like, either way, it sucks. But yeah, I mean, how awful is that? And none of them have made any statements about it since,
right.
Resurfaced.
That's pretty crazy.
Robert Hoagland.
I'm pretty impressed.
I know.
That was found.
Dude, I was super impressed. So when I was looking for it, I Googled like people disappear to start a new life. And it was like super stupid. It was like fictional story, like Reddit threads. I don't know, people talking about like, how would you, if you could disappear and start a new life, how would you do it? It was like a complete dead end. And then all of a sudden, there's a little glitter at the bottom. And it was like, man in Rockhill, New York, like disappeared 9 years ago from Connecticut, from Newtown, Connecticut. I was like, let me look at this. And I was like, oh my God, it happened. It really happened.
Yeah. I didn't think it could be found.
I didn't think so either. And you know what else really sucks? Okay, so it really sucks but his oldest son, actually, okay, so I told you it happened in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And his disappearance was just months after the Sandy Hook school shooting. So his disappearance didn't get a lot of media coverage. Another thing, though, is that there's a lot of crazy people. Apparently, there's a lot of stuff on the internet that people speculated he disappeared because he was involved in that school shooting. And they thought that he had run off because he was guilty, or they thought that the government, there's a lot of people who are conspiracy theorists about Sandy Hook and other school shootings, and they're made up. And so there's a whole bunch of threads also that say that, the government paid him off because he knew the truth. the shooting never happened. But essentially, a lot of people speculate that it was something to do with the school shooting.
Well, is there any evidence at all he had anything to do with the shooting?
No, there's no evidence whatsoever. And their oldest son, Max, actually moved because he couldn't let it go. Like the things that people were saying about his father, he couldn't let it go. So he actually like moved home and he defended his dad to the very end. I mean, he was like on message boards, like writing back to people, like telling them he was just constantly defending his dad and like trying to like get people to take down slanderous things about his dad.
Right.
At the very end. It's actually heartbreaking.
That is sad.
That he believed in his father's character. I mean, the very end. And then like did leave.
Yeah, that's really sucks.
And like for what reason? And also like he wasn't even 100 miles away. How did they not find him?
Well, there was all kinds of sightings.
I mean, I know, but they didn't ever actually find him. It's like 83 miles from Newtown, Connecticut to Rockhill, New York. Like 83 miles.
Yeah, that's not very
And he got a job. He got a job doing the same thing he did in his past life.
When you said that job, I was like...
You knew it?
Yeah. I didn't say anything because I don't want to ruin the case, but...
I know.
I was like...
Well, I was going to ruin it at the beginning because I was going to tell you, like, dude, I found it. Okay.
I'm glad you did.
I wanted to keep you to the very end because I was so proud of myself.
Yeah, well, good job.
Yeah.
Good job, Sierra.
I did an episode on him. This was before they knew that he was not disappeared, though.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, all right. Well, I guess we should probably go to bed. But yeah, guys, keep a lookout because we're in Orlando. So we'll be in Orlando tomorrow. So maybe we'll post some fun pics on social media. Post some TikToks.
Maybe.
Share our journey with ya because we're going to be having so much fun.
We should. I don't actually know how to make TikTok, so you're going to have to do that and teach me.
You're ridiculous. You're absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know how to make TikToks. I've never made one. You're the one that tried to be TikTok famous.
I was TikTok famous.
You were not TikTok famous.
Okay, I didn't try to be TikTok famous. I mean, I did try to get more. I just wanted more followers than Sterling.
I know. That was your whole goal.
I didn't want to be famous.
All right, well, yeah, keep an eye out. Maybe we'll post some fun things.
All right, guys. We'll catch you later. We'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Hey, everyone. If you like what you heard and you want to support a small podcast, please give us money at
www.patreon.com/weekly dose of wicked, where you can join one of our 4 amazing tiers, starting at just a measly $3 a month. That's literally 10 cents a day. You can join the Slightly Wicked. After that, we've got the Moderately Wicked for just $5 a month, followed by the Awesomely Wicked for $7 a month. And for those high rollers, big ballers, we have the Extraordinarily Wicked. So head on over, check it out. If you like what you see, join it up.
If subscriptions aren't your jam, head on over to
www.buymeacoffee.com/WDOW, where you can give us a one-time donation to buy us a coffee or, like podcasting equipment, which would probably be a better use of our money.
Feel free to give us a follow on
Instagram at weekly_dose_of_wicked, or you can just search Weekly Dose of Wicked and we'll pop up because we're the only ones.
Or you can give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/Weekly Dose of Wicked.
Or you know what? You could just do both because that would be better for us.
For a direct feed of our podcast, please go to
www.weeklydoseofwicked.buzzsprout.com.
Great news, guys. We've made it big time, and you can now listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yep. Even Pandora. They finally let us in.
Make sure to come back next Wednesday for your
Weekly Dose of Wicked. But